You are now in the rabbit hole where no conversation is forbidden. This is Kat, your host for today, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 4, The Soulful Artist. Today, we're going to be talking about what it is to be a holistic person. We're going to be discussing the formula. I really like that she said that. The formula to thrive in life from her own life experiences. Be sure to listen until the end of this, because that way you're going to be able to enjoy a sound healing bath performance by Elizabeth. So welcome, Elizabeth. How are you? Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm great today. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Ready?
You ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So first of all, tell us what it is like to be a holistic person, all right? Or what it is to follow a holistic lifestyle.
So what it means to me, like you were saying, the formula, or what I said, the formula.
Yeah, I like that.
It's pretty much the mind, the body, and the soul.
Yeah.
And there's so much that encompasses in those three aspects. And if you're missing one of them, then it's just not going to work out. Things are just not going to go right. You have to have all three in order to thrive.
To thrive into it.
For sure.
And how do you put it into, like, how do you find a formula, right? Like the formula of mind, body, and soul. When was the point in your life where, like, you had that, like, epiphany, or what caused, what happened in your life that caused you to create this formula and to bring it into your life and live it?
Yes. So I feel is a very complex question, because there's just so much to it. Not in the beginning, because I don't remember the beginning, but I mean, I think we could if we really, set our minds to it and put the work, but
that's what we're doing here.
Right.
We're going to go all the way in the beginning. I'm going to take you all the way to the beginning.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go as far as back to being a teenager.
Okay.
And being a teenager, you have so many emotions going on, and you don't really know who you are. And then you have society trying to tell you who you should be.
Your parents.
Right. And then your life experiences, and then your family. You're raised a certain way. You're raised to believe a certain way, And the reality is that, I don't know, I think we're not free, and that's why we struggle so much growing up, even as teenagers and as kids. We're told who we should be. And I was I think confused, as every teenager is, very emotional.
Even human, I mean, not even humans, even adults, right?
Right.
Like, they still haven't figured out a formula, right?
Right. For sure.
So can you just imagine, like, a teenager, right? Like, and you are just becoming this person that you have to be, but you feel something's off.
Right.
Like, it's like, this is not what it's supposed to be. So tell us more about that.
I think when you come into this world and you're a baby, you're pure. You're kind of already aware. You have a lot. You have you're conscious in a sense, but you lose that as you're raised by your parents, as you grow up in the society and all that, and then all your life experiences happen. Like one life experience for me was when my parents divorced, and I didn't realize that affected me until later. I was like, that never affected me. I was fine. But no, I realized that later when I started having insecurity with men, and just like the attachments, so you realize that later in life. And then also with my dad not being in my life after a certain time, it affected me. But the turning point for me was when my brother passed away, which was in 2009.
How old was he?
He was 28.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was 28. He passed away. I was still in high school. That was my senior year. A lot happened that year. I remember I had my high school sweetheart. We broke up. And then my brother passed away. I broke my ankle. So a lot was going on. A lot was going on. So pretty much after that, after high school, I changed completely. I was always this happy person.
Yeah.
Just a lot of light. Just always a lot of energy.
This is before this happened, like before you lost your brother, or this is after you went through that
After I went through all that.
You became this happy person.
No. So I was a happy person.
And then, okay.
And then when my brother passed away, I completely changed. I went into this dark hole. Right, just really this dark hole. I was very depressed. I was like mad at the world in a sense. I was very hurt, you know. I didn't have any more motivation. I was going to school, and I used to do very well in school, and then when that happened, I was dropping out of classes. I didn't care. I didn't care about anything. I was always mad, you know. I had an attitude.
Would you consider yourself like, were you going through like depression kind of thing?
Right.
But maybe you weren't aware of it.
Right. I think I was depressed.
Yeah.
I just didn't know I was depressed. You know, all I can think of was my brother. I was very close to my brother.
Yeah.
You know, we had the same humor. We were always laughing. It was great.
Your best friend.
Yeah, it was kind of like he was my best friend. You know, and when that happened, it broke my heart. You know, it was like I didn't have
Even
my
your
dad.
uncle. It broke your life and your uncle.
Right. So it was a lot of things going on during that time. You know, I didn't have my dad in my life, and then my brother passed away, and that just kind of broke me. And so I went through a couple of years of that. And then, you know what? We're gonna go back into religion really quickly so you can understand.
Yeah, please.
How I got into the whole spiritual aspect.
I love to talk about religion. Okay,
sure.
Let's talk about religion.
So my family is, you know, Hispanic. They're Ecuadorian, and they believe in, you know, Catholicism. So I was Catholic. My mom wasn't always a person who goes to church, you know, but she did teach us the Catholic way, you know, and
the expectations that come from it, and
right. And my sister also went to a Catholic school, my older sister, and I always looked up to her. So I would go to church with her, and I even became an altar server. I was really into it, you know.
I know that too. Yeah. Horrible.
So I was an altar server, and one day I was just sitting there, and I was just looking at everybody, and I was like, it looks like everybody here is just not to look down on anybody. You know, everybody can believe in whatever they want.
Your perspective.
My experience.
Yeah, and that's what we're here about, your experience.
Right. I just felt a disconnection. There wasn't a connection there.
And I can relate to it. Yeah.
Right.
I understand. Yeah.
So then my sister Giselle one day, she said, you know, we should try agape. I don't know if you ever heard of agape.
I did. I never went, but I heard of it.
It's the International Spiritual Center. It's called agape, and agape means unconditional love.
Yeah.
That's what it means. So I went there, and the first time I went, it completely changed my life. Completely changed my life. I felt like this is my home here. I felt a deep connection there.
What was the difference from agape to like a regular church, to like a Catholicism church?
For me, I remember I was seeing everybody in a Catholic church when I was an altar server, because you're, you know, right there with the priest, and you can see everybody. And everybody was just, you know, saying the same thing, but nobody was connected. Everybody was just, I felt like, there because they felt like they had to, or they feel like
or just repeating like things that maybe they don't really feel. I mean, in my case, right, like when you praying the rosary,
right,
as a little girl, like, what am I don't know what I'm doing. Who is God? Like, what
there's just no connection.
Yeah,
there's no connection. And I think part of that is because you're believing in something that's very far away, a God that's very far away, right? And then when it comes to agape, it's more self-awareness, more believing in yourself and the power that you have. You are God. God is all around you.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where it started for me. I was broken, and then I started going to agape, and then little by little, agape started teaching me, and I started developing my spirituality. Little by little, I started healing finally. Little by little, and then life started happening. I started growing. You know, I was in relationships, and I started becoming who I was, and I still wasn't, of course, at the highest I could be, obviously, and I'm still not. We're all still learning. We're always infinitely going to be learning, but you know, and then I was in a bad relationship a few years ago, but I don't regret it, because I learned so much about myself. I learned to love myself, and
what you don't want in
what
a
I
relationship,
don't want, exactly.
What you want. So let's dive into something about your relationship, because I think it's very important. Like, you know, in many of us, like I can talk, you know, with myself too. You know, going through mostly, this was your first relationship, you're saying, right? The first relationship that you had, kind of, that wasn't that good.
No.
But you're serious.
I had about three serious relationships,
and all of them were.
My first relationship was in high school. My first real relationship.
Okay.
And that guy's still my best friend, actually, to this day. He's my really good friend. And then I got into another relationship, and that didn't work out. It was about 4 years. and actually I'm with him now. So we found each other again.
Okay.
It's a little complicated, it sounds like, but
life is complicated.
Yeah. So we went back to each other, but you know, I guess it wasn't the right time, and that's what it's all about. You know, it's just kind of just going with the flow, and things will happen naturally. You can't force things.
And you learn that in Agape. You learn that with that, you know, building, like letting things go and letting things be. Do you think you learned that through Agape or just life in general?
A variety of things. I think Agape has taught me a lot. I think my life experiences have taught me a lot. And then also I recently became Buddhist, and I think that is also, you know, wow, it has been even more powerful. Exactly. So it just, it's a bunch of things. It's a bunch of things.
How do you say, what is the chanting for the Buddha? There's a very big chanting. Can't remember how it goes.
You talking about Nam-myoho Renge-kyo?
Nam-myoho Renge-kyo.
There you go.
Can we say it 3 times?
Yes.
Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. Yes! Ooh. Okay, awesome. So you became a Buddhist. How is that connected to... And so you were in Agape. Is Agape still like opening to be the Buddhism, or is like a completely different thing?
No, I feel like it's all connected.
It's all connected, right?
Yes.
It's all connected. So you had this relationship, but first you mentioned this bad relationship, right?
Yes.
This is the guy from high school.
Yeah. No. This was recently, maybe a few years ago, about 4 years ago.
Before
in a serious relationship.
Before you came back to your love now.
Yes.
Okay. So you learned a lot of pain. You learned.
Yeah, I don't really like to shine too much light on this person because you know he doesn't really deserve my energy. But I learned a lot from that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, even though it was really bad, it was a toxic relationship, and you know I was in a really bad place. Mm-hmm. You know, and then I just, you know, after I realized, you know, what like you said, what I didn't want, what I didn't want, and what I did want. You know, and why I was still in that relationship. I was still in that relationship because I didn't love myself yet. If I did, I wouldn't be there. You know what I mean?
You didn't have your, you know, your expectations in a way, or, you know, your moral support. Like you're just knowing yourself and knowing what to accept and what not to accept, right? But as the Buddha teaches, right? Like all those bad experiences and the suffering and it's part of the journey.
Exactly.
Because now you learn all of that. You knew what you wanted, and then you were able to connect with this person that now you are personally with.
Right, which I appreciate so much more now because I was in that relationship. Mm-hmm. You know, and the same thing goes with that. What I went through when my brother passed away, I was in that hole, and we have to go through those experiences in order to what was the word I'm looking for? In order to just persevere, persevere. You know?
That's what makes you, you know, it
makes you wise, courage. You know, and just it makes you aware of who you are, and then you're able to help other people because of it. You know,
it's a story. It's a story that you get to share, and maybe other people, you know, can find a light and don't have to go through it, right? Because you are here expressing that. So I really love that. And when you also mentioned, you know, you were in a dark place. Mm-hmm. Do you want to talk a little bit about what the dark place was? Besides, you know, your brother dying, or is there something else? Like, did you run into any addictions or anything else that made you go into a dark path?
Yes, no addictions. I think it was maybe I wasn't healed yet from what happened to with my brother. Yeah. I wasn't quite healed yet, and then I got it, and I also was hurt from my previous relationship that I didn't work out. I was really in love with this guy, and it didn't work out, and I got into another relationship.
Or you thought you were in love.
Right, or I thought I was, exactly.
Yeah.
And I didn't heal myself yet, and I jumped into this other relationship. And that's advice I can give anybody is please do not get in a relationship until you are healed. You know what I mean?
Because you're just bringing the same thing. It's a different person, but the same lesson that you didn't, you know, haven't like processed or like learn from yet.
Right.
So can you please tell us that advice again?
Dark space.
Please tell us that advice about not dating.
Right.
Can you say it again?
Yes, do not date or be with somebody else until you're fully healed, because you can't give yourself. You can't give yourself. you know what I mean? You're still in that dark space. That person can manipulate you somehow. You still feel like you have needs that aren't met yet. You still need to sit with yourself.
And how do you know when you're fully healed and ready for another relationship? Or do you, like, what would you say? How do you know that you were fully healed to be able to move into a relationship? Like, how can we know that?
Well, I can tell you why I knew that I wasn't healed, and that was because I was still thinking about my past relationship. I was still thinking about that person, and I was still thinking about everything that I was going through constantly while this person was next to me, you know? So when that relationship ended, I felt I was free. I felt I was open, that I was ready to receive. You know what I mean? Before I didn't feel that way.
Yeah. You let it go.
And let it go.
Had to let it
and
go.
let it go finally.
And it sounds so easy. Let it go, right?
No, I was there for a few years. Still there, even though I wasn't being treated how I felt like I should have been treated, what I deserved. I know I had so much to offer, you know?
But maybe you really didn't know what you wanted, right? You didn't know what you, like, were worthy of it until you got to know yourself.
Right.
And then that took you to being able to accept this person that is giving you what you know that you want.
Right.
And then you're like, okay, you know,
right.
It took you there. So that's totally beautiful. And now really let's touch base in the life formula, you know, the life formula to thrive. So you say the life formula to thrive is mind, body, and soul.
Yes.
So how do you connect your life with this? What it is to live with the life when your mind, body, and soul together? What do you have to do?
So it's all a process, you know. Life experiences are a part of it. Those ups and downs are a part of it. Nobody's gonna be just up all the time. You know what I mean? But being aware while you are in those holes, being aware of why you're going through that. What am I feeling right now? You know what I mean? Why?
Asking yourself.
Right. Why am I feeling this way? You know, it's not bad to feel sad or mad. Just ask yourself, why am I really feeling this way?
I was so mad earlier.
You see?
And then I found out why, and then I spoke up.
Exactly.
And then I feel better. So it's like asking yourself, and when you talk about the body, like body, do you mean by that like physical, like, you know, working out and being like how? Because I know that you're very fit, you're very active. How does that make a big change in the mind and the soul?
For sure. So we were talking a little bit about the mind and the soul, and, you know, the emotional side and being aware, which is the mind, and then the body aspect that's the other part of the formula, which is the physical body. You can't just be sitting all the time doing nothing. You have to be moving. You have to go out in nature. You know what I mean? You have to be doing yoga and align, create these shapes to align with the, you know, the solar energy, the universal energy. You know, geometric shapes, creating all the geometric shapes, and
just healing.
Right, we were meant to move. And you know, I got into fitness a few years ago, and then with that came a healthier diet. You know, and that's also part of the body, and that's also part of the mind and the spirit. Because if you eat healthy, and if you're also working out, and you're aware, you're present while you're working out, you know, you're challenging your mind.
Yeah.
When you're working out, you're challenging yourself, and then you're just growing. You're growing mentally and physically. You know, and then when you bring in that diet, you know, right now I'm vegan. I've been vegan for almost 4 or 5 years now.
Why did you become vegan? What are the benefits of being vegan? Because, you know, you have so many there's so many people talk about that in so many different ways, right? Some people are like, oh, vegan is not a good thing because you're buying this up. What is your perspective of being vegan, and how do you feel by being vegan? Does it make a big difference?
So I'll start off with saying how I even became vegan to begin with. How I even got to that point, because I was a huge meat lover. I'll tell you that much. I loved red meat. I loved my steak. You know what I mean? Red meat, ham, the worst stuff was like the best stuff for me, you know? You know, my family is
You're Latina.
Yeah.
Woo! It was Yeah, so how do you do that?
So the Latin culture, we eat a lot of meat. You grow up, you know, into it. You know, when I was in high school, I remember they showed us a video of animal farming. Yeah,
I think I watched that one.
That was traumatic.
I closed my eyes through all of it.
Right, of course, it's traumatic. So that was. I remember going home and I told my mom. At the time, vegetarian was a thing. People didn't really know about veganism. So I went home and I was like, Mom, I'm gonna be a vegetarian, you know. And she
said, what?
Right. She said, what are you talking about? You're crazy, you know. And she was making my favorite dish, which was caldo de res. You know,
caldo de res,
which is a big soup with chunks of meat, you know. And I love that back in the day, you know. And I was like, oh, you know, it's okay. I'm just gonna not eat the meat, and I'll just eat the broth with the rice and the veggies, and I'll be okay, you know. and then I felt so unsatisfied, and I was like, no.
And heavy, like you feel heavy, and like you want to go to sleep.
Right. But I mean, I felt unsatisfied because I wanted the meat at the time.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? I can't do this. I'm gonna eat meat. I don't care what anybody says. I'm gonna eat meat, whatever. So I forgot about the idea, the whole animal. I put it to the side because it's so easy to just put it to the side, especially when you're not seeing animals being cut up in front of you and suffering. You know what I mean? We're already served these raw pieces of meat ready to go in the market. You never see where it comes from. You never see what happens. You never see the suffering.
What they put, you know, like what they put in there.
Right.
It's like I don't want to see that.
Yeah, all the crap.
It's like if they kill like cats and people eat it.
Right.
It like some people eat cats.
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like
dogs. Yeah.
So why am I eating steak?
Right. It's the same thing. And then if you also think about the emotional state of the animal when it's suffering, that emotional energy stays in the cells.
You're eating that. Yeah.
And you're eating all that. Why are people so mad, so angry, so sad, so depressed? Why?
Because
you're eating all that, right? And I know it sounds crazy because I used to think it was crazy because I used to love meat. And I was like, I'm never gonna eat a veggie patty. That's crazy. But then, you know, so I just went back to meat, and then I went to after high school. I started getting into fitness. So this all ties in together.
So you never worked out before high school?
No, I was always active,
but never like.
But not that serious about it. Yeah. You know, after high school, I started getting serious. Salmon and chicken breast and quinoa and veggies, you know? And when I started doing that and then I started going to Agape, something started changing in my mental state. I started becoming more compassionate. And I started thinking about animals, and I would see animal videos, and it would just hurt my soul all of a sudden, you know, because my spirituality was evolving. Yeah. It was hurting my soul, and then I was like, man, something's going on here.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 1 second. It died. I mean, it didn't die, but you have to just click record again because after.
So pretty much just, you know, creating a shift and just cutting that cycle of these cultures, you know, your family beliefs just constantly happening over and over, the same thing over and over again, creating that shift, a change. Yeah. Finally.
And you are in how they see it, because, you know, I believe myself being one of those in my family, right? It's like, they're like, you hippie? Like, what? You know, like we look like the ones that are crazy, and we're like, how many drugs have you done?
Right.
And it's like, it's about waking up and changing, cutting the chain of, you know, we don't have to get pregnant at 20 years old. Right. We don't have to like struggle. We don't have to keep eating pupusas every day. Right. You know what I mean? Like creating a shift in consciousness, and everything starts with us, and that's why we're here.
Right. And you're always that odd one out in your family. Yep. You're always that odd one, that weird one, you know?
How do they call it? We got the black sheep.
The ugly duckling. The black sheep, right.
Ugly dog.
Ugly
black sheep.
right.
The one that knows what's up, but doesn't, that looks lost.
Right, so I always felt from my family, you know, like...
I saw that day. That's what I said it. I was like, she's here to do all the things that you wanted to do. Right. And then maybe you couldn't do. And she's like...
Yeah, right. And the more I kept living this lifestyle, I started to just not care. Take your power back. And just And then my family started accepting that. You know, and they started seeing the how I started evolving, and they were like, "Oh, okay."
Good for you, because you know how many people stay there and listen, and it's like they suffer and like what the family thinks or what they want, and they don't live their own life, and you're doing the opposite.
Right. And you know, my mom would tell me I'm an extreme. You're extreme. You know, you're going to the extreme already. You're crazy. You know. But no, it's I believe it in my heart. What I'm doing, I believe in it.
And it doesn't make you stop.
And nothing is going to stop me. Nothing is going to change that. I'm living my life the way I want to live my life. You know, if I were to die tomorrow, I'm going to die happy. You know?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. No, and I saw that when I first met you. You just have this, like, not that I don't give a fuck, but you just have this, like, this is who I am.
Right.
Take it or leave it. I don't care. That's
Exactly.
it. I love it. Thank you so much for that. And I'm going to do one more question before we, two more questions before we move into your performance of doing this sound healing, which I'm really excited to experience. Mm-hmm. And the question that I wanted to ask you, because I was reading here your ticket to enter, that really touched my heart, because as everybody knows, you gotta fill up a ticket to enter here, which I really appreciate you taking the time. And I was really touched by this, and I would like to have a little more in depth of what you meant by it, and conversation about it. You said, the question was, what do you have to share with the intention to expand overall consciousness? And you said experience, spiritual awakening, knowledge, and undeniable belief of the truth. So what do you mean by undeniable belief of the truth? Like, what is the truth that cannot be undeniable? I want to understand your perspective of that.
And that's kind of goes back to what we're talking about how I was an odd one out, and I still continue to live my life the way I wanted to, and not let anybody tell me who I should be, mm-hmm. or tell me what I should do, but just continue to do what I believe in and what I believe in my heart, my truth.
Your truth. So it doesn't mean that it's gonna be the truth of everything, but that's your truth, and that's what makes it your undeniable truth.
Right.
Doesn't
matter where I came from, what I was taught, what society I came from. My life experiences have made me who I am, and my truth is my truth, and I'm gonna believe it no matter what. Doesn't matter what anybody says. The society is constantly bombarding us with what we should believe in, who we should be, and there's nothing that's gonna change who I am. Period. Like you said, mm-hmm. Not that I don't care. It's just I am who I am. I am
who you are. Yeah. And everything that has happened to you has built this truth in your life right now. And in my experience too, because I feel a little related to your topic, and I love like spirituality and stuff. And would you consider that like spirituality became your truth, or like no like religious spirituality, but the spirituality of like connecting your mind, your body, and soul? Like, this is what you took as your truth, and what made you going, what kept you going, what made you connect with your mind, body, and soul. Like, is this your truth? What is your truth?
My truth is that I am light. I am light, and nobody's gonna dim that. And I have the ability to just shine as bright as I can, and be contagious. Be contagious, and I see myself as a leader, as a teacher. I feel like I'm here. The reason why I'm here on this earth is to lead people to their true power. To show them the potential, the infinite potential that they really have, because nobody's teaching us that. And I feel that that's why I'm here. That's why I do what I do. That's why I do massage therapy. You know what I mean? That's why I'm getting into Reiki, and I am able to feel empathy for so many people. You know what I mean? My clients come in, older women, older than me, and they tell me about their problems, and I start talking to them, and this information is coming to me, not because I'm thinking about it, but it's just coming to me, from the literally. I know it sounds crazy, but it's transmuting through my mouth.
I do Reiki. I know exactly what you mean. Right. There's no way to explain it, which is crazy, right? But yeah, we're just like we are just like a signal. We're like a microphone or whatever it is that is like transmuting what people need to hear at a specific time. And I feel like the most beautiful thing about that is like, while we are healing or helping somebody else, they end up answering their own questions, and we get to heal as well.
Right.
Everything is interconnected.
Right.
Interconnected.
It's coming through us.
So that's your truth, that you are the light, and spirituality is what kept you going, what keeps you going, and is your truth.
Right. I remember one time my dad told me when I was younger. He said, "You're here for a reason. You are here for a reason. You're gonna do something big in the future." And I said, "What does he mean by that?" You know, I was younger. I said, "What does he mean? What does he mean?" And he would say that also because when I was born, I almost died because I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck.
Sweet.
And if I hadn't come out in that moment, I would have died. I hadn't eaten anything for a whole week, and even then, I haven't eaten for a whole week. I barely had any oxygen, and I was weak, you know. And then I came out, and being in that almost like weakness made me stronger. I was physically stronger. My mom would tell me I was a baby, and my legs were so strong. You know what I mean? And then even that is symbolic, you know. So, anyways, going back to what my dad would tell me, now I understand what he means. Now I know what he means. You know. I was here to do something, and now I know what I'm supposed to do. You know,
what are you supposed to do?
I have to heal. I'm here to heal. I'm like a portal to heal. You know, I want to heal people. I can't help it. I can't help it. It's why I'm here.
And the more you have been healing yourself, the more you heal yourself, the easier it is to just bright the light that motivates other people to be healed as well.
Being contagious. You're contagious. You know, you shine so bright that other people get impacted by it.
They can help
by your presence, you know, by I don't know. I know that's why I'm here. For sure. That's my undeniable truth.
That is okay. I love it. I really, really love it. Anything else you wanna say to complete this? If no, I'm gonna move on into the last question that I asked everybody in this podcast, and then we're gonna be able to share and experience the sound healing.
Yes.
Anything else? You good?
I do want to start doing sound healings with a large group of people, with whoever wants to come, because I feel the power of sound is very healing. You know, it definitely amplifies you. It brings you to another frequency. And you know, that's all part of the healing process. And if you guys want to get a massage, or you know, get a massage, or want to get some energy healing, you can always just go on my Instagram, which is Stay Lifted Sisa.
I'm gonna leave everything down below. I'm gonna leave all her information down below, website, Instagram. So check it out. She has a lot of different things, and you know, I'm sure that we are also working on like doing like full moon events. Everything is gonna be found right down below. If you are just listening to this podcast in here, there's also a YouTube version that you can watch. So do not forget to check that out in my YouTube that you're gonna find down below. And thank you so much, my darling.
Thank you.
You are amazing. You are the light. And the last question here before we finish the podcast, you only get 30 seconds to respond, okay?
Okay.
So whatever comes out, and then we're done. Don't worry about being right or wrong. So the last question here that I ask everybody is, where does time go?
Where does it go? Time is an illusion.
But where does it go?
Nowhere.
Thank you. All right. See you guys later. And again, thank you so much, my darling.
Thank you.
And make sure you share, you comment. And thanks again for being in the rabbit hole and falling into it with a pleasure.
Yay.
Ciao.
you. Thank you.